Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video. This time on Handyman Saitou. I absolutely love this fucking anime. Just sat through it, binged it in one sitting, basically. Um, it is absolute, like, really good. I really like it. I'm gonna talk about, like, non-spoiler, then I'll get into spoiler. But first of all, I just recommend it. Like, it's good. It's a nice anime. 12 episodes. Seems like you get a full story. Um, and it's, in my opinion, it's pretty, like, if they did one more thing, it would have been as good as Life in the Countryside, or like, yeah, something like that. Kicked from banished from the Heroes Party, which I made a video on that like a year or two ago. That was a long ass time ago, but um, yeah. So this was on sale during Amazon Prime, and I had it in my list. So I was like, okay, let me check it out. So I got it. Beautiful slipcover, very nice. But anyway, so just going into it, I'm gonna just jump into spoilers now because I really really want to talk about this in general. I have to say, this show was very different. I was recently watching this show, Scooped Up by an S-Rank Adventurer, and I finished it. I was like, oh, it's okay. But the more I think about it, the less I like it. And, I was kind of like, that is the most generic show ever. Like, when I was really thinking about it, like, that's the most generic show. I don't want to get too deep into that. I'll start ranting about it. But, um, so then I got this, and I'm like, okay, let me check this out, and it basically is like what I wanted after that, and what I mean by that is it has a great cast of characters. Not everything is about Saito. It's like probably like 80. I don't know, 60 40 70 30 something like that. Especially in the beginning, it shows a lot of I don't know what it's called, like kind of like segments almost. And yeah, it kind of reminds me of Psyche K. I think they had kind of segments like that in Psyche K. I could be wrong. Let me know. Um, but the characters are all interesting, right? So I really didn't have much of a problem with it. The one thing at first that freaked me the fuck out was man, I can't remember her name, but the I'm gonna call her the priestess who works with the fighting elf lady. When she was like healing her and being all kind of freaky and shit, I was like, bro. But it seems like like they both have like romantic feelings, I guess, for each other. But it was like kind of rapey. Like it was sus. So I was like, I don't know if I like it. Like that was like Simeon Dairy shit. But they never really brought any of that shit up again. And it was just like a romance after that. But other than that, literally that one segment, I absolutely loved it. I love the wizard, Mal. I should have wrote their names down, but I didn't. But you know, let's see, this guy, he is absolute like peak. Like he is awesome. I absolutely love him. You know how they made it like it was like this joke how he's so forgetful and he like all this stuff like, and then it's like they make a very serious story reason for it, and then like you find out his backstory and it's all sad and it's like and then just him, Saito, like the main group, the main four are absolutely great together. I was worried when I saw the trailer that all these people were gonna join, because I was like, I don't know, but they each end up having their own party, and they go down into a dungeon. And that's kind of how you meet all of them, and they all connect and all that. But other than that, it was absolutely amazing. Like some of these side stories, I think like were done so well in this show. What it does is it a lot of times it'll like it like switches like back and forth between like it what's the name, what's the word, hold on, I wrote it down, um twists and turns. So stupid I couldn't remember that, but it has so many twists and turns. You think, oh, it's gonna end this way, it's gonna end that way, it's gonna end this way, and sometimes it's to the detriment. The last fight between the wizard Morlock, remembered his name, and that demon, like was like he like fought him and killed him like 3 times, and it was like the first time I knew he was alive because they showed his like backstory, and I'm like, they never do that unless he's alive. So then he kills him again, and then I think like 4 times or something, and then he's finally done. And it was like too much. It was absolutely too much, and I really did not like that. That was probably my only big complaint where I was just like annoyed of it, like kill him already, basically. But yeah, it also does a lot of like telling instead of showing. It'll say like Saitou got lost, and then it shows him meeting this monk guy, and stuff like that, which I don't really mind too much. I just think like it would have been like I don't know, it was all right because it wasn't like huge things it seemed like happened and then jump in the middle of it. It was more just like setting up stuff. It was just putting like a line of text on the screen. I mean, probably voiced over if you watch the English dub, but I did not. um yeah, they make you feel like the assassin is an absolute villain, and I thought that that's who they were setting up as the villain for the season, and then they didn't, and they make you care about him, feel bad for him, and then like this is what I'm talking about, the twists and turns, right? So when you eventually like they're fighting the main group, and you're like, oh my god, it's a misunderstanding, just fucking get it together. Like I love these guys, like don't fight. Like I like the assassin and I love the fairy girl though, like the fat fairy girl, which is what she said. Like she's cute, I love that. But I'm like, okay, he's not gonna rip her wings out because all this, and then she does it, and then it's like they just keep fighting, and then it turns out that like he didn't really kill anyone, like permanently kill anyone. Because one thing about this show that's interesting, but also seems like it could be a detriment, is how basically anyone can be resurrected as long as their body's in like okay condition. Um, I was gonna say like how'd that happen to Saito because he got like his what was it, like his head destroyed or some shit, but actually it was because of the rare potion thing. But yeah, so that was something where I was like, okay, so he really hasn't done anything that bad. And at the end he's like, I'm gonna sacrifice my, he's doing it for love basically. If you watched it, he did it for love of this witch had who was in love with a demon who gave her eternal youth, but if she ever fell in love and he died, like, so it was kind of fucked up. He died, he was like dead for like 100 years or some shit, and then she fell in love with the assassin, and then like she aged, and so they went back to the dungeon to basically find the Wizard of Time or some shit, like something like that, so they could save her. And at this point I was like, oh my god, what are they gonna do? And then it's like, oh, we can fix her, like the king of the kingdom, which I don't even know what kingdom they're in or whatever. It's set in one spot, like one town and one surrounding area. I would have liked to see in the world a little bit more, but I don't mind too much. I just think like we saw a very small portion of the world, and I would have liked to see some more. I doubt we're getting a season 2. I wish we would, but it seems like I haven't heard anything about that, and unfortunately it seems like whatever. But so yeah, that shit was peak. Yeah, so then with the assassin you think like, oh, he's gonna sacrifice himself to bring the lady back, right? And then you're like, fuck, like I hope there's a way that he doesn't die. And because he has to if you watched it, he has to like get killed. Someone who knows it has to get killed to revive her or whatever, and the king does that for him. But it turns out that he didn't need to die. He just they just cut off his arm and leg, and that was enough life energy or whatever it was to, yeah, because it drains life energy, to bring the lady back. So that was like a twist there where you think, oh shit, he's dead. Oh no, he's not. Like you're like, oh, don't kill, please. There has to be another way, and then there is. And then the twist is, he goes back to the witch's house, and she's like, young again. And she's like, who are you? And I'm like, oh my fucking god, so they're gonna do this. And he starts walking away, and then the fairy, what's her name? I think it's like the dark, I don't know, I can't remember. But, and she's like, oh, you're just gonna be like a bitch and not go tell her how you feel and, make her fall in love with you again. And then the demons that he's friends with, like, pretend to be these two guys trying to, like, I don't know, like, assault her or whatever. And then he beats them up, like, fucking with one arm and one leg. That shit was kind of clean. Like, with the cane, that shit was clean. And then, he ends up, like, going into her place to have, like, I don't know, I forget, it's, like, bread or something. And then basically, like, it ends with, like, them saying, like, the fairy saying, like, oh, they'll fall in love again. So that was good, because I really thought for a minute, like, that's what I'm talking about, though, those twists and turns, it just kept going back and forth. And they did the same for, a lot of stuff. They end episode 8 with saying, like, the wizard, I literally forgot his name again, is dead. And then I'm like, holy shit, he's dead? Like, what the fuck? And at that point, I'm like, oh, I forgot that, like, they could bring basically anyone back. So I end that episode, and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I love him. He's great. Like, he's a great character. Old, wise wizard. Well, he's not. Just, like, can't remember anything. And he's like pervy too, but it's not like in an over the top way where it's like all the fucking time. But yeah, and it's just their whole dynamic as a group was great. So that was interesting, and then they bring him back, and it turns out that a wolf ate his dick. So literally some Dan to Dan shit. I think this came out before Dan to Dan, so they copied it. No, I'm just playing, but it's basically like that, like where he loses a big chunk of his powers, and he gets resurrected because he had a spell that made it so that he, like, after he dies, he automatically resurrects one time. I just felt like that was like really like I was convenient, but I'm like, whatever. I love the wizard. I don't give a shit. But then it's like this, the wolf ate his dick and gained powers, and they show you the wolf's backstory and how he was in love with this white wolf, and they had a kid and she died of like Bambi style, and then he is cursed, like, because he has a thing of binding with his master who whatever. Like, they show you that they make you care about everyone. There is not, from my recollection, I really don't think so. There's not like a villain in the show. No one. And I think, like, yeah, they're like the random assholes, like that there always are in any anime basically, but everyone you think is like, might be an adversary, they might be this, they might be that, they're not. So there's really no villain in this show. And I think when you're watching it, I noticed it, but it didn't bother me. I don't think it bothers me at all, because I think that the show was just very well done. I think probably well, I guess there was a villain, that demon guy, but like, he was whatever, I guess. Like, he was kind of a weak villain. Like, it was just so fucking annoying how he kept coming back. And then, Riza and Saitou having the romance in the show. Now, what I said earlier, that if it did one thing, it would have been as good as Life in the Countryside, right? Because I watched that and I was like, yes, it gave me everything I wanted. And at the time, I was watching all these anime, and I was so sick and tired of the same fucking tropes, romantic tension, da 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 da. Like, they never get together. They got together in that show, so it was great. And they set this up very much like they're about to get together, multiple times, where the wizard's like, she's my daughter, like, I want you to take care of her. And he's like, yeah, basically, like, I love her, I'll do that, whatever. And then, they almost kiss like 3 times, and it gets interrupted. And then they don't end up together like that, but they are, they both love each other. I fucking hated that. I was like, if they just had one kiss at the end, it would have been, oh, all right. It just felt like kind of, that was annoying. Like, that is the really, like, something that pissed me off, because I'm so tired of that. Like, even though I haven't watched an anime like this in a while, I'm just so tired of the will they, won't they, and then they never do. At least in the anime. I'm sure in the manga, maybe they got together, but that's why Life in the Countryside is absolutely great. Haven't seen season 2 yet. Need to watch that, but that was good though. The relationship was really good. Like I said, everyone in the group had just great chemistry, and I absolutely loved all of them. But I'm trying to think what else here. Um, I don't know. With this, I kind of like that they kept him like a normal guy, where he's not super strong and OP. Like, he's smart, and he's a handyman, so he knows how to do some shit. I don't know why, but like before I watched this, I confused handyman with like a construction worker. I don't know why. Like, that was just some dumb shit I did. But while I was watching this, and I'm like, wait, he's not building it. Well, he does, but what. Anyway, so yeah, so basically, that's probably the biggest complaint I have, just because I know, like, I can't. There's so many great animes where they do that, so I kind of need to like just get over it. But it's so frustrating, and I mean, like, if it was the basic like, will they, won't they, and then they almost kiss, and then they never mention it. But like, they go as far as to say like, Morlocks like take care of her. You know, how do you feel about her? Um, will you take care of her if I die? All this, and he's like, yes, I will. All that, and they have like these romantic moments where it's like clear they both love each other. And the fairy's trying to push I believe her name's the moon fairy, like moon fairy, uh, Lafai, Laff, Laffy, I don't know, something like that. But so she's like the driving force, and then they have a little bit of a romance with him and her in the last episode where she gets in a magic vase and becomes like human sized. She like has feelings for him, but then when she turns back, it's kind of like she lets it go because she feels like she can't be with him. I thought that was pretty good because I feel like they all like they have chemistry too. Obviously I'm with that camp, but the other camp with him and Riza. But I thought that was an interesting dynamic, and I liked it. Um, all the jokes and shit with like where Morlock, oh my god, I can't remember his name. I need to write these names down, but I always forget. Morlock, when he transforms into like he looked like Inuyasha. I've never seen Inuyasha, but he literally looked like that. He also looked like um the fucking guy from Yu Yu Hakusho. I have him over there, so the red haired guy, but they're like making all these jokes about his dick, and it really did remind me of Dan to Dan. I was like, kind of like surprised because I feel like this did come out before Dan to Dan, and it was very similar. Like with they took they took his dick, he got more power, like he lost some of his powers, and he has to go find them or whatever, and then they make it so that like there was this one scene where after he gets it back or whatever, like right, it's like one of the last scenes of the show where after he finds the vase after like she transforms back into a fairy and he's butt ass naked because he lost all his money and clothes and whatever gambling. So he's like butt ass naked, and he's like, "Oh, if I cover my shit up with this vase, it won't see anything." And then like he does it, and they're like they cut to like them talking outside, and he's like, "Oh," like because he says it's like regenerating, going different sizes, whatever. And he's like, they're like Saitou dodge, like like this dick's just swinging around, and it was like out of obviously out of shot, but I thought that shit was so funny. I was like, "What?" Because I don't know, it was funny. Like this show had some really funny moments and some serious moments, and I like that. And there's really not an insane amount of fan service. There's some, of course. I think mostly in that episode, like where they introduce the fighting elf girl and the priestess. That's just what I'm calling her. If you've seen it, this is the elf girl. And this is the elf girl. And this is the priestess, where they had that moment in the beginning. It's just the way that they wrote it, where it was like it seemed very yandere. Like, wow, that was weird how I fucking said that, but yeah, it was very yandere. Um, After that, they really didn't have that much. They had her being naked, a couple of times, but there wasn't like these huge shots of it and taking forever or whatever. But had some. So if you're interested in that, you know, I'm not saying like like oh how dare you be interested in that. Just there's some stuff, but it's mostly I want to say like I don't want to like be real, like story based, like because one of my favorite animes of all time is Rosario plus Vampire, and that's like tons of fan service. But yeah, there's just not much here. Um, but anyway, yeah, getting back to it, I just thought this was really good. I believe it's on Crunchyroll. I think that's the only place you can officially watch it. And if you've seen it, let me know what you think because I really didn't end up enjoying this, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. And if you want a season two, because I do, give me a season two for this show. This is one where I'm interested. I just thought it was good, and well, okay, like real quick, I'm just gonna end my thoughts for this, and then I want to talk about taken by an S rank adventure or whatever it's called. Okay, so anyway, just finishing this off. Great show. Recommend. Let me know what you think if you've seen it. Um, and that's that's basically it. Let me know what you see if you've seen it. If you want a season two, if there's any other shows you want me to watch, let me know. But now getting into Scooped Up by an S rank adventure, I remembered it. I watched that basically in a day and a half. I was just watching it, and I was watching it. I'm like, it's all right. I didn't like that there was no romance in it because um, I just felt like it just wasn't. I like having romance in these shows, like just something like that, and there really wasn't. I feel like if he was gonna end up with anybody, it would have been the leader of the team, but it was so fucking generic that just wasn't like. The more I thought about it, the more I was just like, this shit sucks fucking ass. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you've seen an isekai, like, you know what's happening and you know what's going on. I can't remember what other show this is reminding me of that I'm thinking of now, but it just, oh, it's not an isekai. My bad. Before, if anybody's got me that, it's not an isekai. Um, but yeah, so it was just so generic, and all the characters were like those, like the same type of characters, like tropes, and it just not much really happened. Uh, and I just felt like it just didn't. It really just, I don't know. Like, I finished watching it, and when I was watching it, I was like, it's okay. Like, I was never at any point like, oh, this is amazing, this is great. Um, but I was like, this is all right. Like, it's fine. I'm glad I watched it. And then the more I just thought about it, the more like I just realized how similar it was, and it's just not it. I don't know. It's just I really like because I'm just thinking about it. I've never seen anything so generic like that ever, besides this, right? So it was interesting. It had like banished from the hero's party. It had some stuff like that. It had I don't know. Like that's basically like what it took most from, I think, where it was like he's banished from the hero's party, but the guy's not even really a hero. He's just a bitch, and his name's Alan. Fuck you, Alan. Like whatever. But yeah, and then there's these bitches who are like, oh yeah, get rid of him. He didn't do anything, and then of course it turns out he's like super OP with support spells and stuff like that. And he also never really has a moment where he fights and kills anything. I feel like they were gonna eventually go there because it was like he has to master multiple types of magic. So I was assuming one of those is protection. But yeah, it was just like that. So like the heroes party, they weren't even really like here. Like they were basically bitches. Like Alan's just an asshole. And then of course there's that one girl who doesn't have feelings for him because there's no romance, but like has like respects him or whatever. So like when they're kicking him out, she doesn't say anything. So it's like it was like that, and then at the end, they're all like they're fighting off a horde of demons. I almost just got it confused with I became unrivaled in the real world. Can't remember like because I was thinking of the cat girls in both. No, not cat girl. Oh my god, dude. Sorry, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that made no sense. But just thinking of that, like when they're fighting at the end, they're like, oh, if we get support, we can do this. Like we can, and everybody's like putting their hopes and dreams on I already fucking forgot his name. Lloyd. It's Lloyd because I remember it was Spy X Family. I've been hearing about Spy X Family. And yeah. So it was like that, and then he comes in, he saves the day, and everybody in the town's like, "Oh, you're great, whatever, you're a hero." Da 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 da, and it basically like ends there, I think. And if this show, I don't know if it is, I didn't Google it because I don't care, but if this show got a season two and Handyman Saitou did not, I would fucking riot. I'd be rioting in the streets by myself, but I'd be rioting. But yeah, it should like it was mid. I guess like to be fair, it wasn't ass. It wasn't like oh this is unwatchable whatever. It was all right, but when you watch so many, if this was like one of your first, fantasy type animes, I think you could be more lenient. But as a veteran, it makes sense. As someone who's watched a lot of them, I just think that it was very generic, and it didn't have enough to bring me in, and none of the characters were really like interesting enough for me to give a shit about. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to rant on that. I don't know if anybody's even watching this far. Probably not, but you know, if you are, let me know if you watch this anime, like what you think. Like, am I completely wrong? And this shit is a masterpiece, or like, it's not that bad, or whatever. Let me know because I want to hear what other people think. Like I said, when I was watching this, I completely, when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, it's okay. But then when I finished watching it, I really thought about everything. I was like, this is fucking dog shit. Like, whatever. But anyway, that's a well. Actually, real quick, um, I think my next video is gonna be on. I got a cheat skill level 2, super cheat skill at level 2, whatever, and that might be my next one. I think I'm gonna switch back more to anime like I was doing. Um, I'm pretty excited to see. I think I might finally get that big ass Sword Art Online box set. So, but like I said again, any recommendations, let me know. Let me know if there's something I'm missing. Any anime recommendations, I'm open. Uh, but yeah, that's about it. Peace.